I remember the first time I accepted I was not good enough at the one thing that I really wanted to be perfect at, and that's football. I remember back at home in Nigeria, we never really had training as kids or nothing. We would just mess around with the ball, mess around with oranges, mess around with paper things that we've molded in and taped up. I wanted to be good. I started off when I was way younger. They always put me in the post because I sucked. How old was I? Maybe like 10, 11. And then I would see the big boys who were bigger than me, faster, and just better. And, they would always be better and they would have all the good positions. But I would be stuck in goal. I remember fighting that off. Fast forward to never really playing in a team in Nigeria. I went on to the university and I was like, nah, I have to make my way into this team. There were so many of us, not the school team. We had like departmental football teams. And I remember joining mine. But there was this guy. I hope he watches this video, David. David was so good. He was better than I was. First year, second year, third year. I was always coming on as a substitute. And we were very good. The team was very good. We won the title each year. But I was always coming off the bench. Cameo appearances, I would call them. But then, fast forward to my final year in college, the fourth year, he was injured. And I remember having this training session where I was like, it's my last chance to prove that I am good at this. At least I knew I was coming to America, excuse me. I knew I was coming to America at that point, and I was like, this is all I have. This is it for me. And I remember the training session before we played the tournament, before the tournament kicked off, we had this tournament. We had this little scrimmage game with the team, with our team, right? With the coach. And then the coach, who was a classmate of mine, he wasn't like no professional coach or anything. I remember him playing, and I remembered one play that I did, and I think I dribbled him crazily, and I scored a great goal. I remember everybody was like, Nemi, waiting me that. I was like, in my head, I was trying to be humble. Rather, in my head, I was freaking out because I was like, who is this guy? But in reality, I was like, I had to play it cool. I had to play it cool, but I wasn't cool in my head. I was like, what the hell? Then when the game started, so David was super good. He used to play in a bunch of teams around. I think he's actually professional now in Nigeria, if I'm not mistaken. But I always looked up to him. I never envied him. I just knew my place. He was injured at the start of the tournament. And he said to the coach, let Nemi play. There were other people. But he said, let Nemi play. And I remember saying to myself, it's your opportunity. You're giving yourself all these pep talks, but I wasn't sure I was going to perform. And remember, start off the game, first half, I scored probably the best goal I've ever scored in my entire life. And I remember, I've never hit a ball that cleanly in my life, and everybody ran crazy. My boys went nuts. I remember that game, I scored a hat trick. And fast forward to the end of the tournament, I scored a couple more goals. We won the tournament. And then I thought that was great. I moved to America. I was like, I'm going to go professional. I came out here, I had an injury. After I healed, I decided to try out. I was training. I was working full time, training and beating myself up just to perform. I needed it for so many other reasons that I'll talk about in the future, hopefully. But I was not good enough. And I accepted it. It took me a while to accept, but I did. Now, fast forward to my life. I'm making videos. I work in the industry. I work with the camera day in, day out, right? Helping sets. That's what I like to see. I was told when I first started in this industry that your job is to help the set as much as you can. So I dabbled in everything. I've done sound, I've done camera, I've done assistant camera, I've done production assistant. I've had a little bit of a directing experience. Most of them my own production. But I still feel like I'm not good enough at any of these things. Oh my God, sorry. I still feel like I'm not good enough at any of these things. You know what the saying, jack of all trades, master of none. I still wrestle with it. I had so much time this week because I'm off. It's Thanksgiving week, so I'm not doing no, real work. I'm just learning and trying to study and grow myself. Then I'm on YouTube a lot, just looking up some tutorials. I'm figuring out that there's so many good editors, so many good directors, so many good people that just know their craft and they look like they're masters at it. And then I start to get in my head again, like, you got to be better. You're not good enough. You don't know these things. But then I see the ones where I'm like, oh, I know this. Oh, I know this. I actually know a better way for you to achieve this goal than what you're teaching people. And then I'm like, maybe I do know a little bit. Maybe I do know enough. I guess that's where I'm trying to be more, rather than comparing myself to what I see, the best of what I see. Not to compare myself to the worst of what I see, but to compare myself with my previous self. We've heard this before. This is probably something you guys know. I'm always, as long as when I step in front of a camera, when I get into the director's, headspace, whatever it is that I'm doing, as long as I see myself improving every time. Like with my videos, go compare my first couple videos to where I am now. I'm talking to the camera and I'm confident and I'm looking at you guys and I'm delivering my lines properly. I'm able to bring my thoughts out into words better than I did initially. I guess that's my competition now. You see, what happens is that when you have too much time, you start thinking you're a professor and you get in front of a camera and you want to teach people stuff. I don't know. I don't know if this will help anybody, but this guy, Nemeka Nweke, is comparing himself to who he was yesterday. Yeah. That's my story. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Hope this helps somebody out. If one person learns from this, I am happy. Like, subscribe, share with a friend. Take care and God bless.